Hi! So I was interested in making a video about soul contracts, but I was also interested what do others have to say about it, because I've talked about it a lot. And so I decided to listen to someone else. Hayden Crawford was the first one to pop up on my search engine, and we're gonna watch the video together. I'll do a little reaction video, see how our beliefs match or not, and we can go from there. So let's start.
Hi guys, I'm Hayden Crawford from Numerologist.com and I'm a wellness coach specialising in colour therapy. Today I am going to be revealing my top 11 facts about soul contracts, agreements and debts and how you can break them.
So far, it's a great introduction, and I like his personality. He's like, the very first thing is like smiley face catches everyone. Well, I guess it's a good thing. At least it's not the hello loved ones. That's a bit creepy, but anyway, let's watch it.
We really are blessed to be living on this planet during this transformational and exciting time. But for us to be able to support this transition, it's essential that we wake up to unity consciousness. Now, we came to the planet as a volunteer with amnesia, so we must remember our soul origins so that we can engage in the work that we came here to do.
Right, I'll stop right here. We came as a volunteer. I would go 50-50. Like, there's a lot of people who decided to come here, and, you know, each person has a different mission, like where it is to help someone else, where it is to support a family, make a change, plant the seeds of information, whatever. But I've been working with a lot of people who are very, I don't know, it's just like, it's definitely not a volunteering. Like, a lot of people have been forced to come here. And if we look at life and how vast it is, we have a lot of past lives, billions of them, even more. And with all the things we've ever experienced, a lot of us are very powerful beings. We have made changes in a lot of the history of the multiverse. We have been into wars, we have been into healing, and if we're talking about past lives, we have to open up the doors that there are other beings out there, just not just humans, but way more than that. And whatever is happening on Earth, the politics, the wars, the diseases and everything else, it is exactly the same out there, except there is no pain, there are lesser things, but the same thing, the same kind of game is still going on out there. No matter where you go, even if you call it the fourth, the fifth dimension and all this stuff, same game is played over there. And I've talked to a lot of people who have been amazing. As in, they have been healers, they have been going through the harshest stuff in life. They have experienced the pedophilia, the corruption and everything else, and just like seeing how much they have been suffering and how they cannot relate to this planet at all. You know, you look at their past lives, or you work with them and they recall their past, and they find out that they have been forced to come here. So, you know, it's like some people, not everyone, some people come here voluntarily. Some people are forced to come here. Some people are deceived to come here. And there's like a lot of variations. But then there are NPCs. There are, let's say, bodies that are simply vessels. And there are other beings coming and, let's say, mirroring or becoming conscious and using the body as vessel. It's in the same way we play video games and control the character is the same way some ETs will use their technology to sort of shift the consciousness and use the body, but they can disconnect at any time. So for me, like, you know, yeah, it's great point of view, but I have seen some really dark crap. So let's continue.
It really is our last look at duality as we ascend from 3D to 4D and 5D consciousness.
Again, I will just mention one thing. A lot of people are talking about ascension to fifth dimension, ascension to fourth, and like higher and all this stuff. And, you know, you have to define it. What is this ascension? A lot of people think that, you know, you're gonna have high vibration and all of a sudden the world around you will change and you're gonna be in fifth dimension and everything's gonna be fancy, everything's like growing great. But the thing is, the only change is here. You're going to fifth dimension with this, with your consciousness, with your mind. The matrix is the prison of your mind. And literally you create everything. So this whole ascension is simply, oh, now we have beings who can see past the 3D, past the normal human look, and now we can see entities, we can see ghosts, we can see dead people, we can see much more than that. And a lot of people already have that. A lot of people are already living between the 3, 4, 5, and 60 and whatever these there are, you know. It's just like, there's a whole lot more. So you'd have to define what is it ascending onto the 4th and 5th dimension. Because from me, in my subjective opinion, it is not like we're all of a sudden gonna appear in a better planet. It's not like all of a sudden we're gonna like appear in some different place, everything's gonna change. What changes is your mindset. What changes is your vibration and frequency. And from then on, because you are the creator of your own reality, whatever you focus on, whatever you believe in, you create. And that is, you start manifesting. So for me, like, I see that ascension thing as simply changing myself. If you want to change the world, you have to change yourself. If you're taking care of yourself, if you're doing good, if you're like, let's say, fixing your issues and traumas you have been working through and all this stuff, well, the life is going to change for the better for sure. So for me, like, that as a whole ascension is just like, normal people don't really see beyond the physical. But once you start tuning in, people see the grid, people see entities, people see some really dark stuff. And you're like, how can you see that stuff? Well, once you work with your frequency, you shift. And that's the only shift to the 50 there is for me. So let's keep on going.
So soul contracts are agreements that you enter into before you're even born. And before this contract is created, you get together with your spirit guides and they empower you to be able to work out what scenarios or events that you need to go through to help your soul evolve. And this will actually form the basis of your soul contract. Now,
great. So basically, we get together with spirit guides and tell, like, well, you know, I don't want to be rich in this life. It's like, I need poverty, I need to meet a lot of psychopaths and narcissists, I need suffering. Guys, you need to help me out to make sure I have the best life here and grow, because, you know, I just need to make sure, like, I evolve, I get better, and the only way is to suffer, right, guys? No. From my perspective, even though some people, some of us, can get with spirit guides, if you're coming here willingly, if you're like, I 100% want to come here on Earth, I want to be here, I want to have this kind of body, and, you know, you have something here, yeah. If you're consciously coming here on Earth, you're definitely going to have a conversation with someone if you invite them. But the thing is, a lot of people who are forced to come here, and that's a whole lot, you don't get to decide. You don't get to say, yeah, okay. It's basically kind of like, do you want to play football? Yeah. Okay, so you made agreement to play football. You're playing football and someone bumps into you and breaks your leg and you lose a tooth. Did you make an agreement to lose like a tooth and break a leg? Not really. But why did it happen? Because you agreed to play the game. There's a lot of things that like follow up on that. And well, there might be spirit guides that will help you to make sure your life is better. Agreements are not here to help us. Agreements are limitations. If you're living freely, if you are conscious being, there are no agreements. You're infinite, which means there shouldn't be things stopping you. But in this scenario, it makes me even think about, you know, there are spirit guides coming out to help you make agreements, and that makes me think about, you know, for example, reptilians and other beings shape-shifting, looking like really warm, fluffy bodies that are like really there caring for you. The archangels, the angels that love you and just make sure like they want you to do good here on Earth. But you end up suffering. Most people here on Earth don't like the experience. There is no fun for most people. And you talk to them and they're like, no, I never wanted this. Spirit guides, you actually helped me to make this agreement? To suffer, to break my leg, to not have any friends, to lose my work, to go bankrupt, to be the most unluckiest person in the world, to suffer and never get love and all that stuff. Thanks, I guess. Doesn't sound real to me. But yeah, okay, let's keep on going.
Now, it doesn't only just relate to the people in your life, it also includes your events, circumstances and situations. Now, remember that you have agreed to all of this before you come in. Here are 11 important facts about soul contracts, agreements and debts, which will enable you to wake up so that you can let go. Number 1 is that you choose your name and date of birth. Now, this might seem absolutely ludicrous, but before you came in, you decide what day, time and place you're going to come in at, and also the name that you were given at birth. Now, you might have thought that your parents chose that, but it actually carries an energetic signature which is specific to you. And it reveals your personality blueprint, your strengths and weaknesses, the best times for you to embark upon new projects and ventures, and also your sole purpose. Number 2.
Alright, let's stop here. So basically you agree to choose the name, the body, the looks, the events and all the stuff, the time you're born. And I can go with that, but there's also, I think this guy has great intentions, and he's talking about people who come here willingly, specifically those that actually wanted to come here on Earth. And then, yeah, those will talk with their spirit guides if they want. Those will talk to someone they know to get guidance and make sure their life here is good, that they get to evolve, they get to learn all this stuff. That's great. Those people would get to choose their name and birth and all this stuff. But I think this guy is about numerology, I think, so that's why he is more focused on, it has significance for him. If you look at, let's say your life number, how many letters you have in a name and all this stuff, you look at the numerology and geometry and all this stuff, that will be significant if you focus on it. But there's a lot of people, and Cameron Days talks about it, Rich 2150X, Andrew Barsis, they talk about birth bump. What happens is people, let's say, choose to come here willingly. And you might decide hey, yeah, this is a perfect family. This is the people I want to be with. They're going to help me grow. They're going to help me get better. And I'm yeah, this name sounds good. And you set up everything. And your parents then get the intention oh, yeah, they get the idea of the name. But you put that idea in their head. And now they give it the name that you wanted. So you can do these manipulations and work with it. You can choose dates and sort of come here. Great. But with the birth bump, what happens is a lot of people who are, let's say, powerful and are seen as a threat because you can make changes in the world that someone would not like. For example, if you created the electric engines, the water engines, or started working with nuclear fusion, I think, there's a lot of things where you can change the world for the better with the technology you can bring, with the outlook, no matter what you choose. Whether you choose to be the scientist, or let's say a spiritual healer, or a counselor, you can plant seeds of knowledge, you can impact a lot of people, and eventually you become dangerous because what you do changes too many lives, changes too many people, changes the vibration, makes massive impact. Because you are seen as a threat, there will be birth bump. What happens is that when you're supposed to be born, they will shift you into another body. And so you were supposed to be born into this specific family, but now you end up with people you can't hardly handle. And a lot of times your parents end up being hateful, they don't understand you, they don't support you, you're the black sheep of the family, you are an alien in the family, people don't love you. It's you're being completely left out, and it's you might have siblings, and the family seems like narcissists. They hit on you, they don't like you, they don't support you. You might get that love, but a lot of times it's that even Stockholm syndrome, where they might act very nasty with you. They will say things that will hurt your life for so long. And it's you break away and you're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. It's no matter how old you are, you look back and you're wow, my whole life, my parents have been the handlers. My parents have been people who suppressed me, and I don't forgive them for the things they've done. A lot of times the families we end up with end up suppressing us, and that is not our choice. There are other beings out there who make sure that a powerful being like you does not get the best interest. You are seen as a threat here on Earth, and that's why they try to make sure you're limited. So from my perspective, while some people might choose their name and bodies and birth, that's great for them. Those are probably very successful people, let's say, I don't know, Tony Robbins, Gary Vaynerchuk, Mel Robbins. Some people that have had some hardships in life, but they've made it and they've achieved so much. But I can't talk for them. I don't know, I haven't looked into their case. So I believe there are some people, maybe this guy, maybe he chose. He knows a lot, he has great numerology, that's great. But there are a lot of people who have been suffering and they didn't get to choose a name. Some people hate their names. Some people fuck, why was I born here? I wish I was born on a different timeline. And, you know, like, we can, like, say, like, yeah, well, that's just escapism. You can't handle your current problems. But you're literally, if you work with people, and you work with them using sort of like a past life regression, they can recall what they have been doing in past. And literally some can say like, hey, I've actually been living in the Egyptian times. I have actually been living in the Roman Empire or like some other time. And people recall being here on Earth. And do they recall coming here? Do they recall choosing their names? Do they recall choosing their bodies and dates and all this stuff? Not everyone. So literally, while some people might get to choose, which is great, others are being forced or misled or messed with and all this stuff. So there's a lot going on, and I think like having a broader look on understanding helps. So that's my little input.
Is that you choose your family. Yep, I understand it can be quite challenging to hear this, but we do because we want to learn specific lessons or broaden our awareness. Now, at a higher level, you have chosen those people to be your mum and your dad, your sister, your brothers, your uncles and your aunties. And even if those relationships have been abusive, dysfunctional or downright challenging, they, at a soul level, are there to help you evolve and wake up to your purpose here on the planet at this moment in time. Now, the roles can reverse as well. So, you know, you might be your mother's son at the moment, but you may have been her mother in a previous lifetime. And this is for the purpose of rebalancing karma and clearing those debts.
Alright, so I commented about the family a little while ago, but it's like, balancing the karma, it's, from my perspective, karma is not a thing. It's, you know, yeah, you make an action and you're like, oh fuck, I messed up, I wanna make it up, I wanna make it better, sure. That kind of balance is up to you. It's not some universal law that controls your life, no. From my perspective, it's basically, you decide what you want. And sometimes you play the good guys. It's like, let's say, you're playing a video game. You're playing Star Wars, for example. You're playing Luke Skywalker, you're being the good guys, beating out the bad guys, winning the game again and again and again and again. Like it's the only game you have to play. And you've been Luke Skywalker for like 50,000 times. You're like, you know everything about the good guys, everything about using the Force and winning the game and saving everyone. And eventually you're like, oh, the company just released a DLC, and now I can play as a bad guy. I can be the Darth Vader. Woo! And you choose to play the baddie. Boy, is it more fun. New experience. You get to explore, you get to choose new stuff. You get to like, oh, well, I've been so bored of Luke Skywalker and him being the same son of a beep, and then you kill him and you're all satisfied. Like, we choose to play. Kids are playing outside. They're using, let's say, thing and they burn the ants or they throw rocks and kill a bird. For them it's a game. Only later they realize like, oh fuck, I actually killed a little being. Like, damn, I have to make it up. And so, you know, you choose to make it better. It is your choice, your decision on what you want to do. But it's not like, oh, you know, you've been a bad guy a lifetime ago and now you have to suffer. So let's say in your last lifetime you killed someone and here on Earth you lost a lot of people, like they've been killed, they've been robbed and all the suffering. It is not the agreement. It is not like, hey, I agree to be fucked with. If you make it consciously, yes, that's gonna be a thing. But a lot of times, let's say people here on Earth who are doing some really nasty stuff, let's say pedophiles, murderers, robbers, after they die, they will not go to hell based on their beliefs. Most of the bad guys, or let's say most of the people who are, let's say, psychopaths, narcissists, they don't have empathy. They don't understand emotions. They don't understand love. They don't have the guilt feeling. So because they don't feel guilt, like let's say you kill someone, you rape a 5-year-old kid, and you're like, well, I was just having fun doing what I like to do. What's your problem? And you're like, what are you all fucked up about? It's like, you know, they don't have feelings like that. And you, while you kill someone, let's say you accidentally drove over a little turtle or like a little, I don't know, hedgehog. Like, oh man, I'll just drove over a thing. And you blame yourself and you have to make sure like I will be more attentive when I drive. I will be sure to slow down, I'll pay attention, and from then on you start making decisions about your life, like being super attentive, being this, and this, because you're hurt, you're feeling guilt, you want to change, you want to make it up. There are people who don't feel that, and they don't care. And once they die, they will not go to hell, they will not suffer, because everything that happens after we die is based on our beliefs. And if some people don't believe they're not gonna go to hell, they won't. Like literally, you can be a massive killer, and you're like, okay, I'm done, bye now. And you're done, and you're clear, and you don't go to hell, you don't suffer. But there are people who might remember your actions and might be very displeased with what you've done. They might want revenge, and they might come after you. So, you know, like there might be some consequences, but it's not karma. It's literally like, hey, you've done some bad shit, and it is either your decision to make it up, or it is someone else not happy about what you've done. So there's that. Regarding the family thing, you mentioned having like choosing the family. Yeah, like if you're coming here and you don't get birth pumped, you get to choose your family. But a lot of times, it's like there is no connection between people and family. So there's like 50-50. There's both sides, and it's good to know about both, because the whole suffering, it's like your family can be hateful. They don't have to accept you. They don't have to say compliments to you. You might be the worst person of the family. You go to family meetings, you go to barbecue and all this stuff, and everyone's laughing at you, everyone's hating on you. You're like a laughing target. In the family, everyone's like joking about you, and you hate it. So it's like, spirit guides, thank you for helping me choose this wonderful family, to learn that I have to love myself. You can love yourself the whole life. You don't have to go through super harsh lessons like that. It's like, okay, if we have to experience suffering to learn, then you take a cleaner for the toilet or something and it says, do not swallow, it's gonna kill you. And you're like, well, I'm not sure about that. It says, and I need to learn. So to learn, I need to suffer, and I need to die to make sure it's gonna kill me. Really? Who's that fucking dumb? So what you do is like, okay, here's a cleaner. If I swallow this chemical, I'm gonna die. Okay, makes sense. I'm not gonna do it. We're conscious beings. We're smarter than that. So when coming on Earth, it's not like you have to break a leg, you have to lose your limbs, your family's gonna hate you, you're gonna be homeless, you're not gonna get food, you're gonna have sick diseases, like so many diseases, you're gonna die in about 5 years. It's gonna be perfect learning experience for a little kid to make sure that you have to appreciate every single thing you have. Really? Who came up with that shit? It's like, you don't need that sort of crap. So, in my perspective, there's a lot of things that can happen, but it's not always your agreement. It's not always making a conscious decision. What's more likely, like the way I see it, if you ever installed a program or an app on, let's say, your phone, your PC, there's a thing when you're installing and it says, I like agree to terms and services and all this stuff. So you have to like make some agreements. And most people are like, yeah, next. I want to install my app. I want to install my game to play it, to use it, to do my stuff. And most people say, I agree. We agree to terms of service, and we don't read anything. We're like, yeah, first line, okay, scroll. We scroll it all, and we agree to all this stuff. It's like a lot of people want to come here on Earth. And like, whether it is helping someone, you might be a fighter, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna come here, make a change, or you might be forced to come here. Eventually, we have to make agreements before coming here, and whether we do it consciously or not, what happens is like, this process is a bit fast forwarded, it's kind of in a hurry, which is why you agree, you scroll through everything without looking through it, and now you end up here on Earth, and now you're suffering, and now you're all messed up. You're going through so many hardships, you don't know what the hell to do. So, this kind of thing is like, it's happening a lot, and it's good to know about it. So anyway, I'll shut up now, let the guy talk.
Number 3 is that your soul family help you to heal. Now, there are various people that are destined to enter into your life at different points to help you to be able to heal from something either in this life or from a past life. Now, these people can come about in all sorts of different shapes and forms, but really they're here to be able to help you wake up to your soul origins and also your destiny and your purpose here on the planet and what you're actually here to do. Now, these lessons can be extremely painful, but trust that they have been agreed upon whilst you were a disincarnate being.
Okay, a lot of that, I I sort of can agree to some of it. Let's say, you know, hey, you're gonna come here on Earth and you are gonna meet someone you have knew in your past life, and they will help you out. You don't necessarily agree to have it with them. For example, okay, you have a past life, and now one of your crew, one of your family is like, hey, I have to go on Earth. There's a mission I'm gonna do. It's like, like where share some information, give them some technology, be a supporting person. I just have to do something on Earth, and they go, and you're still living on one planet. They live on Earth, and you decide like, okay, it's been about 20 years. You need to come over here. Like you see that they might not be doing so good, or maybe you miss them. You want to meet them, and so you come here on Earth. Your circumstances, you might be complete strangers, you might actually, let's say, be relatives, you might meet and they're gonna be your friends. There's a lot of ways we can meet. And, like lovers, friends, and all the stuff, we're coming here. So basically, that person didn't say, come here and help me out. You have to come here and teach me and help me and guide me, blah, blah, blah. They didn't say that. But you might make a conscious decision like, oh shit, they're not doing so good. They're being messed with, they're suffering, or, like, hey, I've learned something magnificent, and I feel like if I share this information with this person over there, that might be good. But if that was the case, a lot of us would simply telepathically give the message to the person. And this is why a lot of people, while they're doing their stuff on Earth, they get this inspiration. They get like, oh, I have this great idea, and then you do it. A lot of times it is our relatives, our friends, our family, our crew and all this stuff. They share those ideas. They give that telepathic idea to us. We receive it as if it is our own thought. We're like, yeah, I came up with the best stuff ever. Well, not necessarily, but who's gonna check it on Earth? No one. So with that, there's a thing. But let's say you choose like okay, I need to come here, be their support. I need to teach them stuff. I need to make sure like they sort of can balance all this stuff. That stuff happens. A lot of times people might let's say what happens is you're gonna come here on Earth and you're like, hey, make sure that if I ever go sideways, as in you have your credo, you have your creed, you have the way you live, and it is your values. But you're like, okay, if I ever go sideways and don't follow one of my rules, make sure to help me out. Sort of control the situation, help me fix this stuff. And so now you're like, you might say various stuff. Like maybe you have a loved one, you have a lover, and you're like, hey, make sure I don't find anyone else. It's just you and me, baby. And you come here on Earth, and I have a really hard time finding someone to love. As in, the girl, the guy you like, no matter what you do, it's just not happening. And what happens is you're like, well, there's always some interference going on. I try to meet them and they can't. I try to do stuff and this just doesn't happen. I've tried to meet a person and one of us changed, or there's a lot of the whole change of personality. Something happens. Someone gets in the way. Why the hell is that happening? And we have that loved one or those friends helping us out. Except we don't remember we asked for that thing. We have amnesia here on Earth. And so they're trying to help us out by, we're the only one, baby. But you're being cut from many relationships. That agreement you've had in the past is now keeping you away. And that kind of help might not be what you need right now. You're like, hey, that seemed like a great idea out there. I changed my mind. Literally, I want to have that person for myself. I want to do this thing. And please stop doing that stuff. So a lot of times we think we have a great idea. We ask for help. We ask for, check it out. Make sure that everything's going fine. We have a plan. We come here. We have amnesia. We forget absolutely everything. And now you don't know for what you've asked. You don't know what you've agreed to. You're like, okay, I'm just gonna suffer and supposed to say this is fine and that's thank you, my spirit guides. That's not the case. So a lot of times if you can sort of watch the signs, let's say parents in your life, the times you freeze, the times let's say you can't meet the person, relationships have issues. If you look for things that keep on happening again and again and again, start questioning it, because there is someone getting in the way. And a lot of times it is not your fault. Literally, it might have seemed like it's a good idea, but now you have some friends helping you in a way that's actually not helping right now. And all you have to do is realize this is what's going on and tell them, hey, I've changed my mind. whatever we agreed to on before I came here is no longer a thing. I revoke the agreements, I cancel it out from now on, and you tell them your rules. Like literally, do not interfere. When I get out of Earth, we can be the couple together, we can do things together, I can live up to the values I've had, but right now, I've changed and I'm trying to do my best while I'm here on Earth. So there's like a lot of variations, and just because, you know, there are some agreements and all this stuff, it doesn't mean you have to suffer. The whole karma thing, it's very subjective, and you know, it's pretty much here to control people, and it's a very good tool for that. So I'll shut up and let the guy talk.
Number 4 is that life events help you to heal. Whatever scenarios transpire in your life, always remember that they're happening for you and not to you, and it's to evolve you to a higher state of consciousness. Now, these will be both good and bad, but try and hold off judgment on them. Just always look for the bigger picture. Remember, you might not necessarily get that colossal mortgage on that house because you're supposed to be starting your spiritual journey.
Okay, so it's like, again, 50-50, you know, I've actually talked about it, like, I get ahead of him by talking too much, but it's a thing like, I make agreements and I decide on the events of what's gonna happen here on Earth. That would be great, but there's a lot of things where people get interrupted, people get interfered with, they get messed with, because you can make too many changes, and that's not good. Like here on Earth, coming here for most people seem like a good idea at first, or they feel like, you know, we feel like we can make some changes. What they don't tell us is like, your powers will be taken away, you will not remember anything, you will be cut off from the communication from your friends and family and anyone you know, and you're gonna be all alone here. And, you know, we'll see if you can sort of get better, if you can do stuff. Good luck. So that kind of thing, you're like basically stranded here, all by yourself, and good luck if you can cling to someone. The events, sometimes we agree on it, and I wonder, like, for example, going through some really harsh stuff in my life, like, you know, sexual abuse and all this stuff, or losing people I love and all this stuff, that wasn't nice. But I know because of those things, I backed off, I started looking at life differently. Would that have not happened, would I be different right now? You know, would I react to life differently? Would I be here making this video? I don't know. So, you know, you have to think of, like, you have to think about those, like, okay, everything I've been through, what has it led me to? Is it serving me or not serving me? And eventually, you know, like, are you a hamster in the wheel, or have you actually left the wheel and, like, saw the bigger picture? So for me, like, I think I have to look at whether what has happened eventually served me or not. Because just because you're suffering right now, and you might be in a relationship that's not good for you, you might be with a narcissist, you might be with people that don't like you, that don't love you, you might be with family members that are talking shit about you, you might be with people that like hate you, and just there's a lot of variations of what can be happening right now in your life. And just because you're suffering, it does not mean that it's necessarily for your betterment. It's like, okay, you're gonna have a whole family talking behind your back, and you're the bad guy in the family, and they're gonna target you for fun. It's not for your betterment. The betterment happens is when you realize the change needs to happen and you choose to get better. So for me, like, okay, I've been through a lot. Have I agreed to be sexually abused? I don't think so. But have I agreed, or let's say to get better and to achieve a certain point in life? Yeah. Now, it's kind of like, okay, sometimes we make agreements like, I want the end goal. We have like, okay, I need to have this. So where it is specific job, where it is meeting specific people, or having something in life, sometimes we just agree to have this one thing. But we have not agreed on how we're gonna get it, or how we're gonna get there. And a lot of times, because we chose the end goal, but not the whole experience, we suffer through it. So there's that. Good point though.
Number 5 is that you have free will. You were born onto the planet at a specific time in a certain location with a sole purpose. However, one thing that wasn't predetermined was your free will and choice, which means that you have the power to be able to carve your life the way you want to have it once you get here, and that's known as your fate. However, one thing that you can't change is your destiny. Now, your destiny ultimately is to experience the unconditional love of the universe and return to a state of oneness.
Okay, so here's a few things. I would sort of like if I was him, I would try to define what does it mean by the oneness or coming back to this original state. Because for me, okay, yeah, the idea, I get what he's saying, and I would say eventually I'm coming back to being consciousness. Right now, I am consciousness in a human body that's named Makvela, that's like 24 years old and all this stuff. There's a lot of like labels and puts me in the cage and who I am. But eventually, I am consciousness, I'm limitless, I'm everything and nothing at all at once. And for that, life can be wonderful. But while we're here, we have free will, yes. And remember what he says, we have free will. You choose what's happening here. So a lot of agreements, your karma, the negative stuff, it is your free will to change your life, to make changes no matter what it is. Destiny, I wouldn't say that your destiny is to come back and be a dad. It is life. It is your choice. And, like, by nature, yes. It's just, like, natural. But a lot of people might think like, let's say they read the horoscope and all stuff, like, oh, it's saying bad stuff for me today. It is my destiny to experience that. Oh, no. And they believe that stuff, and they're gonna experience it. You're literally like, okay, my destiny today says it's gonna be a bad day, I'm gonna lose my job, and the family will leave me. Okay, next. So I just forget about it. Like, okay, that happened, whatever was said, but I am creating my own destiny. I can change it 24/7 all the time because you are conscious, powerful being who can do anything you want. And while some people, let's say, choose to do bad things and they believe that they're like not going to be judged, it's like, is their right to do it, you can do whatever you want to do. And it is all because of your beliefs. So this whole karma thing, this whole suffering, it is destined to be this way, you have to suffer. You have a free will, and right now you can make a conscious decision that it doesn't, like, it's no longer has to be the case. You no longer have to suffer. You no longer have to be in that relationship or stop yourself, limit yourself. So free will, you choose it whenever you want it. You either are liking it the way it is right now, or it's not bad enough for you to change. And it can go to a lot of ways, but destiny and everything else can be changed 24/7 from my perspective.
Number 6 is that you choose your death. So the way that you die and the time that you die have been predetermined on your contract. However, there are also other points during the course of your lifetime where you can either choose to stay or choose to go. And these are known as exit points and can occur as a near-death experience. Now, not everybody has these on their contract, but you might have one. So just be aware of that. Now, once you fully recognise and comprehend this, it can really take away the fear and pain associated with the crossing over period. And it can help you understand and accept the fact that really everything is unfolding perfectly for you. And, that you're just literally waking up out of a dream.
Okay, so choosing when we die is a thing, but not for most people. It's like, would you choose to live up to 97 years, and by the year you're 60, you start, getting super sick, and for the 30 years you just choose to lay in bed and suffer? I don't necessarily see that as an agreement. Like, yeah, if you're consciously choosing to come here on Earth, you're gonna be interested in your own benefits. As in, okay, so I'm gonna live for like about 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, while my body is doing really good. I'm gonna have the perfect circumstances, or let's say, maybe like as if you were playing a video game, you might have difficulty where it's normal, harder, and you might have some obstacles in life. But eventually, choosing life is like, there's a lot of people dying in car accidents, being killed, being murdered, stabbed in the back. Like, there's a lot of those variations. Like, like shark bit you and all this stuff. You lost a limb. A lot of those deaths, it's not necessarily your agreement. Like, some people, and you look at like being gang-stalked, being involved in MyLab, being abducted, suffering from pedophiles. Like, would a 5-year-old kid consciously choose to go under like rape of a pedophile and die? Like, yeah, it seems like a perfect lifetime. Like, I just wonder what it would feel like to be raped and then die while, like, they fuck with me. You would not. Like, why would you want to suffer? I mean, some people, yeah, if you're into that kind of king, sure. But no, you wouldn't. Like, 5-year-old kids, people suffering in Africa, or like all this stuff, there's a lot of that going on, and it's not a conscious decision. A lot of times beings know about you. They know who you are. They know who have you been in the past. And because it is like, you talk about your name, and you might have been a healer, you might have been a warrior, you might have been a protector, a diplomat, translator, like you have had your own roles. And you leave an impact over there. You come here, and people don't just forget about you. They remember who you are, and they know, like, oh, here on Earth, the person's going to be limited. Like, they will not remember their past lives, they'll lose their abilities, so it's perfect time to keep our enemy trapped and imprisoned and suppressed, and so that we could do our own thing. So a lot of, like, deaths, while some people can do it consciously, and while any of us can learn to get out of body and never come back, it is a thing. But choosing the death would be good if most of us could. Like, a lot of people will have to suffer, and that's not necessarily what most people want or have agreed to.
Number 7 is that you're not alone. Now, you are given some help along the way by your angels, guides, and multi-dimensional aspects of yourself. And these can change over the course of your lifetime, depending on what lessons that you're learning. Now, they will help you to stay committed to your soul mission. So the more self-aware you become, the more clarity that you'll receive on the signs and symbols that they give you to be able to help you take the baby steps along the way to be able to fulfill that higher purpose.
Alright, I can go with that. I can go with, like, getting help and all this stuff. It's like, it's very broad with who can we get the help from. And, sometimes we might ask, it's like literally learning how to receive help, allowing it to come, because a lot of times you might ask for help, but there's few things. You're asking for help, and there are beings who are like, okay, the more they suffer, then they end up asking for help, and it's a great way to use their energy. So, for example, some religions might get hijacked, and let's say people are praying and the energy is going and nothing in their life is happening, it's not changing, it's not getting any better, but people keep like praying, expecting for a change. But what happens is, like, they're in this loop of becoming the prey, losing their like energy, they're like sucking off the loosh and feeding off. And so, like, it's a perfect way to mess with you. It's also like inviting the vampire or the devil into your house. You have to open the door, you have to let them in. So it's like, you feed off the energy, and that's not really good. So, like, learning how to read signs, sometimes we're like wondering, like, I just need some feedback, I need to hear from them, I need to see a sign, and you are the one who learns how to read it. For example, like, okay, if this is a yes, then give me 1 bird, if this is a no, give me 2 birds. So this is where we go into numerology, into the symbolism, into the signs. But eventually, you're the one choosing the rules and how the game is played. Because sometimes people see, like, oh, it's a 666 number, oh my god, devil, it's gonna be bad, and they panic, and just because they saw 666, they felt all negative, scared, panicking, in fear, and now they end up focusing on the negative, they end up creating bad reality for themselves. So literally, if you're like, okay, define 666 means transformation. 666 means finally the loop has ended and now you can control things, like, like it's getting better. And okay, you say 666 and you're like, my life is getting better, I'm changing, I'm like evolving and all this stuff. Yeah, that's much better outlook. So there's like a lot of ways how we can look at life, how we can see things. And literally, let's say you ask your spirit guide or whoever for like a thing, like you have a question and you need an answer. Some people are like, okay, show me something I need to learn. And while you fall asleep, you might have a dream where it might be a bit weird, but you might experience something that's literally going to teach you. For example, Nikola Tesla was able to astral project. So every night he goes out, but he comes back with blueprints, he comes back with memory, and he's able to build technology that's way far beyond what's Earth on right now. And so, some of us can do it like that. There's other things where you're asking for questions, and the way you receive the answer will be all over it. For example, you ask for a question and you see that answer on the internet. You're listening to a radio and there's a song playing and says one message that's like, oh, that's exactly what I needed to hear. So like literally radio, TV, internet, anything around you. And another thing, we're constantly shifting realities. Because let's say on this timeline, I choose to, let's say, pick up my TV controller. And hey, I have a TV controller, cool. but right now I choose to pick up my phone, I choose to do other things. So literally the timeline splits. I pick up TV controller, in other timelines I pick a phone, I pick a glass of water, I pick other things, and now we have one timeline that shifts into different possibilities, but they're all happening all at once. And so we can literally jump timelines all the time. We can literally shift the events we're like looking at, like whatever's happening. So there's a lot of that going on. So yeah, here it is, me talking again.
Number 8 is that synchronicity happens. Now, when you are fully aligned to your soul purpose, you will notice and observe that strange coincidences and serendipitous events will occur that will guide you effortlessly from one opportunity to the next. Now, another noticeable cue is that certain people will come into your life and you'll be in the right place at the right time, and they'll appear as if by magic to be able to deliver information to you that could help you learn a lesson or relieve some doubt.
It's just a bit weird to me that while he's saying, you know, we choose our name, we choose when we're born, we choose the family, but there are lots of synchronicities. So for me, like, okay, like, well, there are no synchronicities, there are no coincidences. Like, everything that's happening for a reason. You might have decided on it because you were choosing so many things right before that, or, you know, like, there's other things, but it's like getting that help and it says synchronicity. But literally just before that you were asking for help. So how is it synchronicity getting help or the information that you were craving for from the beginning? It's like if you ask, it'll be given. If you like literally knock on the thing, is gonna be open and all this stuff. So there's like a lot of that where I know for me it just seems like the opposite of what he was talking about before, but might be just my weird perception. But yeah, just saying synchronicities.
Number 9 is that you can break a soul contract. Yes, you can. Now, this is so exciting to know, because if you recognize that your spiritual path isn't blossoming or you're being hindered in some way based around an old agreement that's in place, you can do something about it and you can change that. The most important thing that you do is to stay committed to helping to raise the frequency and the levels of consciousness on the planet at this moment in time, so that we can ascend from a 3-dimensional into a 4 and 5D conscious awareness. So if you recognize, for example, that you are living with a poverty consciousness, which is stopping you from actually continuing with your soul mission, you can use this very simple mantra to be able to move forward out of that and set yourself free.
Finally, something I can go with, like, yeah, that's a good message. Yes, you can break all your agreements, you can change everything, you choose to do it. The only thing I would add is, like, well, his message is like, you know, raise the frequency and the consciousness of other people, so that, like, we would go from the 3rd dimension to the 4th and the 5th one and higher. It's like, again, if you want to change the world, you start from yourself. So literally put yourself first, because you are the creator of your own world and your reality. And while you might have a lot of hardships going through, like, that you're going through, you can look at the issues, you can look at the agreements you have and revoke those agreements. I don't know, like Cameron Day, Andrew Barsis, Rich 150X, there's like a lot of people teaching you how to do it. You might find some videos on my end as well. But eventually, all the hardships or any events and anything that is not serving you, that is not helping you grow or get better, it is getting in the way. So if it's something sort of major, the best way to do it is to break it down into little bits. Okay, the whole section of, let's say, making money. So, you know, having a hard time making money, not finding a job, not getting paid, and you look at, like, maybe being afraid to make too much money, or, you know, like, afraid to win a lottery. Like, there might be some fears, there might be some things settling, and if you can just, like, choose one category of issues and then break it down into little ones, and then stay committed to break a lot of those agreements, is gonna help. Like, literally, you can choose one item and find hundreds of agreements, like right up to 5 or 7 pages of the agreements, and that's a lot. So, you know, break it down, work at it, but literally, don't go at changing the world. Change yourself, because the moment you start getting better, your frequency change, and just by that, you pull everyone up. So, keep it up.
I am master of my own creation. I acknowledge that I feel fear about not having enough money and that it no longer serves my spiritual path. With the power of my higher self, I release this fear back to the universe for the greatest good, to be transformed into the highest form of divine love and light.
The only thing, like, I guess there's like a lot of people and a lot of different ways to revoke agreements. He's sharing his own, which is good. For me, I personally don't go for the greatest good because it is a generality. And who defines what is the greatest good and for who it is? Because a lot of times, you know, the greater good, the whole family gets to laugh at you, but it's for the greater good. Like, come on, it's just like you're the only one suffering and all of us gonna laugh. It's for the greater good, come on. And this whole greater good, you have to define it, and it would be better, like, let's say, with the power of my higher self, I would just go with from my sovereign self, because with the power of my higher self, it's like we're putting someone above us and they're better, and it's not about our power, it's about someone else's power. Like, it's another aspect of me, but it's higher and better and stronger in some way, so it's hierarchy. So I would go with, okay, so from my divine inner self, from my sovereign power, like, I just imagine myself being like a hero, like a powerful being that I was before coming here on earth. And now, like, with the power of my divine inner self, with who I am, not someone above me, not someone greater, but me. And then I would go into, I release this fear back into the universe and send it into galactic force for transmutation. Transform into the highest form of divine love and light. That's okay. That's good. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to do it, and I just know, like, for myself, I just need to define it to make sure that, and you see, like, there are a lot of groups out there who are very good at selling cars, right? But the way they sell cars is like sometimes they lie and they're like a bit, you know, like saying some stuff that are very deceptive. And they know how to play the words. They know how to say things and catch you and make you like them. Like, there's whole gypsy thing, like let's say, not to go at the whole community, but at least I've heard the sort of thing where, in order to have you to be more open or friendly or trustful, they will say 3 things that you have to agree with. Like, oh, you know, you have beautiful eyes, and you're like, yeah, thank you. And like, is the sky blue? Yeah. Is the grass green? Yeah. And you're like agreeing to things. You're like saying yeah. You're like, you know, like you get your defenses off, and now they catch you. So the whole thing with greater good, and a lot of groups will look at how can they bait you, how can they tell you things that you agree with. It sounds really good, it sounds wonderful, but you look at the books like Urantia and Seth Speaks and Semites that channel information and use other people to talk to others, or like write books and share the knowledge. They use such words that a lot of people don't know the definitions of, and that's a very easy way to catch us off guard. Because like you say a phrase or two that you don't get, and our consciousness goes look for the other things, and we'll sort of lose the connection, we lose the sort of consciousness here while we're searching for something, and now it's very easy to sort of like say something that we're gonna agree to without really knowing, and now we're fucked. So again, I would just like work at sort of like putting it or phrasing it in a way that's serving me and does not have a way for like a single, I don't know, space for the bad guys to get in and to sort of use my words against me. I don't want that happening. So this whole greater good, like, there can be Galactic Federation of Flight or some parties like reptilians. It is for the greater good to use your stuff and actually reverse your agreements and fuck with you anymore. Like, they can literally just rephrase what you're saying and use it against you. So like, again, like, I would work at saying it differently, but it's okay.
For the greatest good, to be transformed into the highest form of divine love and light. Number 10 is that you can clear karmic debt. Forgive yourself and others and set yourself free by clearing karmic cycles. Say to yourself, I forgive anyone I think has harmed me in this or any lifetime, anywhere, on any dimension. I forgive all debts and erase all karma. I choose true light for myself and all myselves. You will feel gratitude if this has been achieved successfully. As forgiveness happens in many layers, it could take several attempts before you start feeling this.
Okay, so forgiveness is definitely a big thing. Like, no matter what has happened here on Earth, if you can let go of it, because eventually it is more of a logical thing. Like, literally, you can live your whole life looking back and sort of, let's say, living in that one emotion, like someone hurt you and you, like, not letting go, but you can't enjoy the present. So, like, it's like, okay, normal thing. I know. If I let go of that thing, if I forgive them, they're out of the picture, the energy flows freely, and now everything's good. The only thing I don't like, or I would for, like change for myself, is that whole karmic debt is what he's talking about. It's not a thing. Literally, as a consciousness, it is your choice, but it's not like someone is there writing it up and like, oh, okay, he did 5 bad things and 1 good thing. He said a good phrase for the grandma. That's good. 5 points for Gryffindor. It's like, that doesn't work like that. Like, there is absolutely no one going and writing down the good deeds or the bad deeds. You know, we have Akashic records, but in that, like, it is the basically only the history or of our own about every single thought we had, every emotion, feeling, and everything else we have said and all this stuff. That's cool. You have it for yourself. But because you're conscious, you can access absolutely everything you have ever experienced, and because of that, you're able to make decisions. It's like playing that video game. Okay, you've played the Luke Skywalker and killed bad guys 5 billion times. You're the good guy killing. Is that a good thing? The bad thing? Who's setting the limits? Who's selling, like, okay, you're the good guy and you're supposed to kill 5 people. So how's karma? Like, since you killed 5 people, do you have to be killed 5 times? Do you have to lose your loved ones? How's that gonna work? And it's all relative. Like, the whole thing, duality, good, bad, right, wrong, it's limiting. It's the, let's say, the matrix is the prison of the mind. And, like, literally, you have to let go of that. You have to go higher than that and look at the perspective of, you're the consciousness, you're limitless, you're infinite, and eventually it is your choice of what you want to do. And while you might play in the peace and have fun for 50 billion years, just enjoying sipping the tea, looking at the ocean and all the stuff that you want to experience and all this fun, eventually people get bored. And when you get bored, you want something new. And when you get something new, you might explore with what's like throwing a grenade, what's like killing someone, what's like doing this and that and that. And some changes might be very slight and little, and it's like basically nothing changes. But eventually some people are like, okay, we have a lot of people who are, let's say, porn addicts, who are going into weirdest kinks, who have, like, let's say, want to have their own harem, and, you know, like, let's just pick up that section, right? So a lot of people are going like, okay, I feel really hard about having one person in my relationship. It's just like, it's really hard. Why? Because you have lived countless of lives enjoying your harem, enjoying as many women or men as you like, and that is fine. It is your choice. If anyone in that realm is doing it because they like it, great. But now if you, like, let's say, have your own harem, but you're harming people and they're suffering, and you're going with your kinks, but you're harming someone else, like, they might not like it. And when they die, it is their choice to, you know, go off and do something else, or actually go into a fight. And then again, are you looking for trouble, or are you trying to get better? After death, let's say, or when you get out of body, are you still mad about what people did to you? Like, let's say reptilians poking at you and all this stuff. Are you gonna, like, go and, I'm gonna show these guys. When I get out of body, when I have my powers back, I'm gonna kick their ass. It is your choice to go and kick their ass, or literally, you can go and have fun. You can forget all that, go to your own planet, make it all safe, and chill. And a lot of people are into, they harm me, and I'm gonna harm them back. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. And literally, a lot of us are looking for trouble. So if we are able to sort of set our beliefs, we can go off and, you know, you can change everything. So there is no karmic debt. No one is going there writing off the good deeds, bad deeds, because it is all a dual thing, duality, and it's very good for controlling beings, for limiting our mindset. And if you can let go of that, you're free. Like, literally, the choices you can make, just understanding how vast and unlimited things are, it just changes the game. So that's what I would add.
Number 11 is that you can clear ancestral agreements. Release ancestral agreements by saying the following with focused intent. I now reject all vows that I have accepted in order to experience the illusion of unconsciousness and separation from Source. As light bearer of my genetic lineage, I break these vows for myself and my ancestors. I declare these vows null and void in this incarnation and all of our incarnations across time, space, parallel realities, parallel universes, alternate realities, alternate universes, planetary systems, all source systems and all dimensions. I ask for the release of all crystal devices, implants, negative thought forms, limiting emotions, matrices, veils, dark cellular memory, misguided pictures of reality, genetic limitation and the illusion of death. I break and release these limiting vows and blockages now. I am free. I am divine. I reclaim my natural power and co-create my reality with Source. Then ask your inner source to fill the voids left behind with love, joy, happiness, prosperity, spiritual growth, and abundance on all levels. Remember, life is a test, but it wouldn't be if we knew all of the answers. It's so important that we stay committed to our spiritual journeys now to be able to help the world transcend from 3D to 5D consciousness.
I'll stop this wonderful guy once again. The whole command he has is very similar to the Karen Day, which is good. He's following it and adding some more steps to make it more clear. Again, one thing I would do for myself is define the source. Because, you know, what is the source for you? What does it mean? Is it a specific place? Is it like, what the hell? And for me, the source is consciousness. I am consciousness. And it's not a specific location. You know, gather the power, gather the knowledge from the source. You're the consciousness. You are tapping into whatever you know, and you're pulling it out of your consciousness. So for me, like, it is whatever I know. Like, my point of view, my awareness, who am I, all the stuff. It's like, I would just sort of, like, do it like that. Like, just change the phrasing a little bit. The other stuff seemed fine. Again, ascending from the 3D, 5D, like I say, this is more of a consciousness and how you direct it. But yeah, I guess we can wrap up the video. He has some great information. I add a lot of things because I dealt with it more practically, and I can't talk for him. I don't know how he used it, the people he had worked with, but for myself, I have worked with hundreds of people who have been suffering. People who have been under the abductions, under the pedophilia, people who have been like targeted individuals, and so much more. And just seeing how a person can go from being schizophrenic, hearing voices, and into actually having a very relaxing day and just enjoying life without any thoughts in their head. It's amazing to see the changes. And the most important part is to remember that eventually we create the reality. We create everything, and there's a lot of things happening, you know, but eventually it is our choice of how to go right now. Like, let's say a lot of things have happened in the past, but just let go. Like, right now, whatever's happened, you choose to create this current moment. Not to sit into someone say something, someone hurt you, someone did something, but right now in this moment, do you want to be happy? Do you want to do better? And what can you do about it? So breaking soul contract agreements is one of the things how you can get better. It's definitely like I've seen it very useful in changing myself and changing other people, and there are hundreds of other methods of how you can work at this shadow work, or like helping yourself, doing the inner work and all this stuff. It's really good. So I know, like, I'll have to check out more of his videos, see what he has to say. Yeah, he seems like a good guy. So we're gonna go from there, but hopefully this was somewhat, I don't know, useful, maybe entertaining. What is his name? Let's see. Hayden, if you're watching, by all means, I do not want to bash your work. I'm just sharing my experience and perspective, and, you know, I'll definitely be checking out your videos. So that being said, I'm looking forward to more content from Hayden, and, like, hopefully I'll make more myself. So yeah, I'll wrap it up now. Bye bye.